welcome back to my channel. It's Christian here, and you are tuned in for more of my 2 cents. Today's topic is one that I personally hold dear to my heart, and I really hope that I can shed some light and some wisdom on how you too can overcome church hurt. Oh my goodness, this topic is a hot one because a lot of people have been hurt in the church, and not just in the Pentecostal church or the Holiness church, but even in Catholic church. Jehovah's Witness, like everybody getting hurt, okay, out here. And I really want to hone in on the topic. This might be a little bit of a longer video, possibly, but I have my points here, and the points are pretty long, child. But I want to make sure that I cover the topic in full and that it is, what do they call it? Comprehensive coverage. All right. Want to make sure everybody gets what's to be gotten. And that this video gives what it's supposed to give, which hopefully is healing so that you can move on and really live your blessed life. Not your best life, but your blessed life. All right. So let's do that. Before we start, though, 3 points that I always share before we go there is: number 1, you are not alone. Number 2, you are not crazy. And number 3, God still loves you. There are so many times in my journey of deconstructing from the holiness and Pentecostal mindset and the indoctrination that has been done to me since I was a child. I always used to feel alone when I was going through this process of like leaving the church. The second thing was I felt crazy. I felt like I was destined for hell, like I was so out of order and out of line, and life was going to be damned for me because of my changing in thinking. And then thirdly, I felt like God's love would be withheld from me because I was no longer choosing what so many people said I needed in order to be saved. I needed in order to be led into heaven, right? Like you need to be a church. Don't forsake the assembling of thyself amongst your brethren. All of these scriptures thrown at you. You need church. You need to go. All of those things. And so I like to preface the conversation with that so that you know that you're not alone. Other people are feeling it too. And if you don't believe it, just look at the views. Okay. Somebody in here, even if it's 32 of us, somebody believes that this is true and that it's helped them. So let's go ahead and jump into the conversation. How to address and handle or respond to church hurt. Church hurt in a nutshell is just bad experiences that you've had in church, in ministry, with people. And I'm going to keep saying that, you guys. It is church that has hurt you, but it's not the church. It is people in church who've hurt you. And it's unfortunate because nobody's perfect. Everybody who chooses to go to the club, everyone who chooses to go on vacation, everyone who chooses to go to Walmart, everyone who chooses to go to work, these are imperfect people everywhere. And it's the same thing at church. These people just choose to go to this building to worship, but they're not perfect and they're not going to be blameless, and neither will you. To be honest, like, I'm not perfect. I've probably done some things to hurt people. And no, I'm not gonna say probably. I know that I've done things to hurt people. I know that I have. And the thing about it is being able to say that and to change that. Like not remaining the same, being open and willing to say, I'm not perfect, and anything that I got wrong, I am going to use the power that I have to choose to make it right. I'm not going to keep walking in that wrong and excusing it. I am going to change it and choose something better. And so that's what I decided to do. I've become a better person, honestly, you guys, by leaving the church, because I do not care for the mindset and the behavior that is within it. It is very depressing. It is very heavy. It is very controlling. It is very manipulative. And I haven't felt this free since I've left church. All right. Not God. I do still have my beliefs intact. I do still have my core foundation principles and values, but I no longer have to gather in church with people who have hurt me. You don't have to choose to keep returning to a relationship that doesn't make you happy. And that includes church. All right. So the first thing that you can do to address and to handle church hurt is realize that you are dealing with another human. Oh my goodness. I got y'all. Well, I mean, they are my points. I do write these things down for the description, so I guess I do know what I'm going to talk about. I just talked about that. Realize that you are dealing with another human who has the ability to make poor choices. It's not something that it's not a place that everyone's going to be perfect and do right. There are shortcomings that all of us have, and we're all growing and moving towards a better version of ourselves. And so people in church are not, they're not exempt from hurting you. They're not exempt from doing something that's not going to please you. So once you stop holding people in church to the standard of perfection, you can free yourself, because you can like take into account, okay, they're going to mess up. You get only so many chances though, before I say deuces. All right. Next up, understand that God will not allow you to be hurt for his glory. I know a lot of people who suffer in church to this day at the hands of other people because they believe they're suffering for Christ's sake. That is not true. That is not right. That is sick logic that you believe so that you don't have to make a change. You don't have to stay somewhere that you don't feel loved, happy, accepted, or wanted. Okay? Church hurt. Church is not a place. Church and hurt shouldn't even be in the same sentence, y'all. And the fact that it does is a sign that something needs to happen. There needs to be a reformation of church, because hurt and church should not be in the same sentence. You definitely can experience some problems, but you shouldn't have hurt in your heart. I would not be able to be married to my husband if he hurt me. I'm sorry. Now, there will be some things that I may not like, but to just consistently be a part of a hurting cycle, a cycle where I'm always trying to get over something else he did to hurt my feelings every week, every month, every day, him saying hurtful things, malicious things, manipulating me, turning against me, isolating me, cheating on me, abusing me, lying to me, stealing, withholding things, that's hurtful. There's no trust there. There's no love there. There's no comfort there. There's no joy there. There's no peace there. There's no growth there. Why would we be together? So ask yourself, why do I continue to stay in a place that hurts me? I can choose another place that won't, but I just won't leave this place first. Leaving a church is not you leaving God. You leaving a ministry is not you turning your back on your creator. It's you saying this building with these people no longer serve me. I'm in here serving them. I'm in here serving him, but this is not serving me. It's actually depleting me. It's taking from me. I have to become someone else just to sit here. I remember when, like right before we left the church that we ended up leaving in Mississippi, I literally would sit in church with an attitude. I didn't want to hear anything that my pastor had to say because I no longer trusted him. I didn't like him. I did not like him. And I'm being honest with you all so you understand that we're humans and we can have these feelings. You're not hating God. You're not liking the person who says they're a representative, right? Your actions are not adding up with the words you're speaking, and I have a right to choose so. I have a right to say what I feel. I'm not wrong and destined for hell because I'm saying this is wrong. You're not doing right. And I don't have to stay here to continue to hope you get it right. No, God will not have you suffering for his glory. And if you guys are out here using the story of Job and how he tried him and all of the other people that were tested, go ahead and let that keep being your storyline, not mine, not me. My mental will not be broken down to where I can't make better decisions for my life outside of church because I keep letting people in church hurt me. You have to understand, people literally have put their whole life into church. So they really don't have an existence outside of it. What that does is that makes you I've said it in so many videos, that makes you a prime candidate for abuse, for mental and emotional abuse and control. And that's how you get brainwashed, because you don't have any outside effects. You don't have any outside impact or influence. You put everything into one organization, so it doesn't do you justice when you need to have a different stick to measure. You need a different ruler to measure treatment. You don't have any other examples. I have other life examples. I worked. You all work jobs. And y'all know y'all wouldn't let y'all subordinates at work, not subordinates, but you wouldn't let your leadership at work talk to you any kind of way. But you'll go to church and be talked to like you're a whole 5-year-old, right? You'll go to church and be threatened about giving. You'll go to church and be threatened about attendance. You'll go to church and be threatened about participation. But you'll go to work and let them say something to you. You'll be sending an email to HR in a minute. You'll bust out your phone and start recording a conversation with no problem. But you won't do that same thing at church. Keep the same energy. This is how you address, respond, and prevent church hurt. Keep your freedom. Stop giving up your freedom to other humans, because you're not giving up your freedom to God. You've already chosen to serve him. But when you go to church, you choose to serve them. And they usually become the ones that you put on a pedestal over God. All right. Next up, you have the right to hold people accountable. If someone does you wrong, you can tell them. End of story. Not going to go any further up into that. You can tell them and hold them accountable. Next, do not discuss it with others before you approach the ones involved. I am a huge advocate for this. The only person that I would tell about situations going on with me and other people that needed to be addressed in church was my husband. We lived together, and I kind of did this as a way to keep record of every time there was an occurrence or a situation, I would just bring it to his attention, like on our way home or whatever. Like, did you notice such and such today? And he'd be like, yeah, I did. Okay. And I was just keeping track, like to make sure I wasn't. What's my number two? You are not crazy. You're not imagining people doing the things they're doing. You're not imagining you're feeling when you're talked to a certain way. You're not imagining your body cringing or the tension and the pressure you feel when you're around or in certain environments. You're not imagining that. It's really happening. Your body is really sending you signals that you're in a distressed position. You're in an anxiety-stricken environment and you are ignoring it because it's church. Don't do that. Don't discuss anything with other people outside of the person you need to address. Talk directly to the people hurting you. And maybe you're wrong. Maybe they can give you some insight. But if you go and talk to everybody else before you address the main person, you're opening doors for discord. You're opening doors for you to then be made to look like the enemy and the problem. Because now everybody else in church or wherever knows, but you haven't gone to the person you claim has done these things. If you feel like you have no wrongdoing in the situation, you should never have a problem with addressing it. That's always been my standpoint. I knew I didn't do wrong thing. I knew I wasn't doing anything wrong to people. So I never was afraid to address folks. I'm like, what's wrong? What did I do to you? And they were the ones like tripping over their words because they were shocked that I would bring it to them. I was okay. I could discern when things were off. I could discern when people were ignoring me or dodging me or avoiding me. And I was like, what's wrong? So I would go to them and ask them. Never feel bad about addressing someone who's too afraid to address you. Don't be afraid, because that's your dead giveaway that you're not the one with the problem. Because people who really have a problem in the heart, they don't want to address you. They want to keep it going, even subconsciously. Not addressing it is worse than actually addressing it for them because it's all in their head. Their problem with you is in their head and in their heart. So when you actually bring it out, it makes them have to address it, and they can no longer perpetuate the hurt towards you. And that has been my story. That was my truth. It's not now. That was my truth. People were able to perpetuate things against me because they weren't addressing it. And then when I would address it, it would uncover it. Like, you're not operating in secret. I see you. Are you a clown? Because I see you in your red nose. I see you. So don't discuss with other people. Approach the ones involved. You don't have to make a scene. You don't even have to be mean. Just ask them. Ask them and see what their responses are. Most of the time, the people in Mississippi were infamous for this, y'all. No, man, you ain't did nothing to me. I'm good. I promise you, I tell you if you did something. That's what everybody would say when you would bring it to them, because they didn't know how to, they weren't expecting you to call them on it. So all of them would have the same response. No, I promise you, I ain't got nothing in my heart. You ain't did nothing to me. You're lying. You're ignoring me. You're avoiding me. You're rolling your eyes at me. You're pulling your kids away from talking to me. And you don't have anything in your heart, huh? Okay, so I'm just imagining that I need to come and ask you, are we okay? Not a problem. But at least you know, and you have a clear conscience that you addressed it and you didn't just hold it in your heart and let it fester. Next, confront. Take it to leadership. If after you approach the individual with it, and maybe you're not the kind of person and you feel like it is confrontation to address, go ahead and go to your leadership so that they can bring you guys together and mediate if you trust your leadership. Some leadership can't be trusted, y'all. A lot of pastors do not have good confrontation or reconciliation skills. They don't know how to address it at all. They get nervous. They don't want to lose members. So they like to sweep things under the rug. Our pastor was like that too. He did not want to gather people because he didn't want a problem where somebody would leave, because that's money walking out the door. By Wells Fargo, that's literally how pastors feel when they have to do confrontation, like regulate that or mediate. They don't want their money to go. So they usually try to ignore to tell you, just be, just pray about it. My pastor told me that. She's a babe in Christ. You've been in church all your life. So I should be subjected to emotional abuse? Like, I should be okay with her treating me the way she's treating me because she just started going and I've been going? No, this is addressing it. Maybe you don't want to address it with both of us in the room together, but I'm now bringing it to you as my leader because I trust that you will follow the Spirit on how to address it. But they fail at doing this. They fail because they don't have the skill set to actually lead. Being a leader, you have to have the skill to address. You have to have the skill to reconcile. I have employees. I know how to handle conflict resolution. It's not a bad thing. If I think that you thought something was going on that wasn't, I have to address that. If you bring something to me about your paycheck or your hours or whatever, I have to be able to not take offense, but to put myself in the position to understand, okay, let me explain this. Let me break it down. Child, I will screenshot the hell out of something to make sure we on the same page. I will show you whatever. I'll log into whatever I need to break down so that communication is clear. I do not like miscommunication. I over explain myself. Y'all may notice this in my videos. That's why I got these bullet points now to keep me on task. I don't like miscommunication. That is what ruins a lot of relationships and a lot of partnerships and a lot of growth and stunts a lot of opportunities because of miscommunication. Be clear. Confront. A lot of hurt can be avoided if people talk about it. And if your pastor or your leader or the individual doesn't want to discuss it, you've done your part. Go in peace. Be free. Just know if something else happens again, you've already done your part to address it. At that point, you can excuse yourself and say, oh, it's not me that needs to talk about anything. It's you. And that's how I would do it. I would do that. I've had to do that. Like, no, I'm not going to no meeting with you. I don't want to meet with pastor with you because I've already tried to talk to you and you didn't want to do that. You denied it. And so now we're at this point where I've cut you off and you're angry. I'm good, love. Enjoy. Take it to leadership, baby. And if they can't handle it, go ahead about your business. You've done your part. Next up, leave instead of staying and spreading your hurt to others, wounding others who didn't hurt you, or staying out of fear of God not covering you. My God. That's a three-parter right there. Leave. If the church hurt is real enough, if there's been a transgression against your marriage, against your reputation in your name, against your children, if you're struggling in your mind and battling depression, hurt, you're crying, you feel like you need to be there and you're losing yourself, you need to leave. You need to leave. If your trust has been broken, if your heart has been hurt, you need to remove yourself instead of staying and spreading that on to other people. And by that, I mean, I'll break it down. Leave instead of staying and spreading your hurt to others. Don't stay and attempt to slander people's name. Don't stay and try to divide the church onto your side. Don't do that. That doesn't help anybody. That actually ends up only hurting you more. Because when people don't see it your way and they still exalt the pastor or the person that hurt you, you're going to be hurt and feel betrayed. And you're going to then leave with animosity and resentment in your heart. I left the ministry we left without any animosity or resentment because I knew that I was saving myself. Like, I knew I was doing the best thing for me. They would be fine. Whatever they've been doing, they've been operating like that. So me leaving shouldn't be a problem. I was saving Christian. Call me selfish or whatever you want, but my mind is still intact. My peace is still intact. My blessings have been popping since I left. Okay? Because I left in the right way, which is the way that didn't tarnish anybody else. And I don't care what they said about me. I don't care what they said about me and my husband. Every lie that may have been told, even the ones we know or don't know, guess what? Our growth and our thriving has proven that whatever they said wasn't true. Because I promise you, if you're doing so many bad things, why would you keep being blessed? Why wouldn't your karma come back around to make sure that you You lived on the down and down instead of the up and up, right? Let your future be your fight. Let your future be your redeemer. Like, oh, I'm good. Honey, my future will tell on me. All right. And my future has told on me, honey. Okay. Hashtag Google me. So that's just how I feel. You don't have to try to get vengeance yourself. And even scripture says that vengeance is mine, says the Lord. Vengeance really is his. Let him have it. Whatever you want to do to them, God, go ahead. I'm going to go about my business. So leave instead of trying to spread their hurt to others. Leave instead of wounding others that didn't hurt you. So if you stay sometimes and feel like you've been delivered from your church hurt or what somebody did, and then say you befriend somebody else in church, and then you become to them what someone else were to you, or you start projecting things onto other people and wounding other people who really do need the light of Christ, really do need to be loved unconditionally. You're now passing your hurt on to them, or you're wounding others and you're lashing out on purpose because you haven't gotten the healing you need. Leave. It's okay to leave and go somewhere else and start over and get the healing in a new environment where people cannot be blamed for what you went through back then. Right? We talk about that in relationships where we say, I'm not the guy who hurt you. With women, you know, when guys say, I'm not the guy who hurt you, it's true. You're bleeding on people who didn't cut you. Don't do that. Don't stay just to say you stayed. Go and be free, because now you're tainted in that area. That ministry is tainted for you, because you will no longer be able to receive from the people who may need to speak over your life. You're no longer wanting to be led by them. You're going to be in opposition and not in lockstep with anything that they do. You're going to be questioning everything about them. Why would you want to stay? Why would you want to be somewhere where you don't trust who's leading you? Question your motive. Lastly, staying out of fear of God not covering you. A lot of pastors use this too, which is abusive and wrong, where they know they're hurting people and spreading discord and not being a good leader. And they'll stand in the pulpit and tell you that if you leave, you're wrong. If you leave, you're not covered. That is a lie. It's a lie. God does not only cover you at church. God does not care if you don't attend church. The covering does not only come from a pastor. You're your own covering, if you want to be honest, with your thoughts and your mind. But don't nobody want to talk about that, though. The more people can take away your ability to be your own person, you need them in order to be anyone. So don't stay thinking that God won't cover you. What is he covering? He ain't covering you there because you're getting hurt, right? Okay. Next, after you leave, move on. Don't keep talking about it. Don't keep rehashing it. Don't keep going back to that hurt in your heart, even when you're by yourself. They did me like this and I can't believe it. I was good. I was committed. I gave all my tithes. So count it as done, right? Count it as you casted your pearls before swine. Not a problem. You'll be blessed. More will come. Greater is waiting for you. But the longer you hold on to this and you don't move on, the longer it's going to take for you to feel like you're free again. The longer it's going to take you to get to the next level of blessings and of growth and abundance, because you're still stuck in what happened. I'm not stuck in what happened. I'm only looking forward to what's next, what I desire, how I'm going to feel when that comes through. Like, oh, look at that. I went through that to get here. Child, yes. I don't want to go back through it. I'm not saying I will go through those things again, but I can tell you right now, if you don't move on and learn the lesson that was meant to be learned, you will face that lesson again, because you're reliving it in your mind anyway. That energy is still stuck with you. So you're going to keep having people to hurt you, keep having people to manipulate you, keep having people to isolate you and treat you bad and talk down to you and make you feel like you're lowly. You're going to keep experiencing that. As long as you don't let that go, you can go to another church and have that problem again, because you're still rehashing what other people did. And this is another thing. I don't have this in my notes, but another way to handle and process church hurt is to not talk about it after you've left it. Don't go over it with nobody else. I made this mistake one time One time. I made this mistake one time. When I made new friends somewhere else, I told them about our past situation at another church. Baby, when I tell you that ain't nothing but a self-fulfilling prophecy, because what people will start doing is they will start looking for signs in your relationship with them that you will do it again. They will. They'll use it against you. People will use your testimony or use your going through and coming out of something against you, because they'll try to find it in your relationship with them. Like, oh yeah, girl, I see why such and such happened to her at that other church. Because I see why. They'll use it against you. Don't talk about past situations with future people, with present people. Those people weren't a part of your past. So when you bring that stuff to them, they'll start trying to find those faults in you. And they may not even be doing it intentionally. But you keep yourself from the possibility of having a fresh start when you want to keep reliving. And some people do it out of pity or wanting pity. They want to share what they've been through so they can let people know they're an overcomer. Bump that. You don't need to know what happened back then, because I'm not going to go through that with you. I don't want you to paint a picture of me to be that kind of person at all. And you have some people that be of the mindset, child, everybody ain't lying on you. Yes, they are. For real. And that can be an assignment somewhat on your life or your character, something that you have to break a cycle. Because I believe it was a cycle that I had to break off of my life to get to where I am now. I had to break that cycle of people not liking me, right? Wanting to be in competition with me when I barely had anything. People were still competing against me for what they did see me with. That was a cycle. But I had to learn those lessons and break that mindset that there would be, people that always felt like that about me. I had to stop talking about it with new people. Like they say, small minds discuss people, big minds discuss plans. It's a difference. The new people I was meeting, they didn't want to hear about this stuff. Stop trying to sit at tables with people talking about future and investment and inspiration and growth. You want to talk about old past church hurt with people that ain't even in church. Be quiet. You can't come around here with that. Everybody don't want to hear that. Move on. Learn how to grow and let it go. Hey, all right? Okay. Next, forgive. This is the last point, forgive. When you forgive those who never admitted they're wrong, you free yourself. You really do. You do. I have forgiven so many people who have never said they were sorry to me, and I meant it when I forgave them. At home, by my loan. They were not there. I accepted the apology that was never given to me. I accepted the I was wrong that was never spoken. I accepted that. And my freedom lied in my blessing. My freedom lied in my abundance. My freedom lied in my peace. My freedom lied in my motherhood. I'm now parenting children as a whole woman. I'm not broken. Everybody don't have a piece of my mind. Like when people you say, I'm going to get them a piece of my mind. Go ahead. And now you're walking around with no peace, P-E-A-C-E, because you done gave everybody a P-I-E-C-E. You gave everybody a piece, so now you ain't got no peace. Stop giving up pieces of who you are to people who don't deserve it. Because now you're walking around peaceless. Now you're walking around incapable of being peaceful. No, I'm full of peace. I operate my business in peace. I operate my life in peace. My home, my mothering is peaceful, right? My marriage is peaceful because everybody else in my past don't have a piece of me. You better stop giving people a piece of you. Church hurt is just that, isolated to church. You still have to live. You still have to go to work. You still have to be married. You still have to parent. You still have to lead. You still have to create, right? You still have to dominate. Don't give people a piece of you because they decided to act up with your peace. If you don't respect my peace, peace out. And on that note, hopefully you all have enjoyed this video, my 2 cents. I've enjoyed it. Those points were bomb. Bomb, 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 bomb. They were bomb. I enjoyed this video, okay? And I'm talking from a place of peace. I'm not even angry. Oh my God. I love healing. Healing and wholeness is everything, you guys. I traded in fighting for salvation, and now I've embraced living in peace. Choose that. It's a better place to reside in. Don't fight for your peace. Just choose it. And every action will align with that. All right? Okay. Oh my goodness. Like, share, comment, and subscribe. Hopefully this video has been empowering for you and has touched you in some way, shape, form, or fashion. And if you need more resources or help on how to get over church hurt, drop down in the comments below and let me know. And hopefully other people can share their 2 cents too to help you on your journey. All right? See you guys in the next one. Bye.